Okay, great. Let's get started. In this webinar, we're excited to cover real-world use cases and practical applications of Cupix and Revizto. We have a lot of valuable insights to share today, and it will be packed with information. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, please use the Q&A function located at the bottom of your screen. We will answer them as they come and also have some time for questions at the end. There's also a couple polls throughout the session, so please take a moment to participate when they pop up on your screen. For some questions, you can choose more than one answer, so keep that in mind as you select your choices. On the panel here, we have Matthew from Revizto, Ahmad from Cupix, and Kyle from Rudolph and Sletten. Matthew, can you briefly go over the agenda for today?
Yeah, thanks, Emily. And thanks for everyone for joining this webinar and registering. If you guys can't make it, we will be recording this, so you can watch it at your own leisure. But today we're going to go ahead and cover some introductions. So I'll introduce myself, and then we'll go right into Ahmad and Kyle, who's joining us from Rudolph and Sletten. But the brief overview of the agenda will be about 15 minutes each. So I'll be definitely covering Revizto and really demonstrate some reality capture use cases that you might find useful for your field teams. This webinar is really, the main purpose is obviously to demonstrate how to get the field adoption to increase, and also to address some of those pain points, primarily with the field, on how they can actually leverage the technology and communicate very efficiently between the office and the field. So I'll definitely show some of those use cases with reality capture, and then I'll quickly go into a live demo and give you a basic overview of Revizto and some of those field use cases. Then we'll switch over to Cupix. So Ahmad will cover really how the Cupix 3D mapping works, show some of the cool features and new up-and-coming features that are coming with Cupix, and then also demonstrate how the Cupix and Revizto integration works. And finally, Kyle will go through some use cases. As a customer of both Cupix and Revizto, he'll show basically how he's leveraging those technologies to easily communicate issues from the field back into Revizto. So with that, I'll go ahead and move on to the next slide. And then, yeah, we'll also go into Q&A. But as you guys have questions throughout the presentation, feel free to post those in the chat, and we'll address those as we can. So a little bit about me. My name is Matthew Ivers. I'm the Western Region Implementation Service Manager at Revizto. I've been there since June of last year. I have about 17 years of experience, both in design and architecture, about 8 years, and then 9 years in construction management. I'm a licensed architect in 2 states, and I was most recently a VDC manager at Suffolk, my last company, for 6 years.
Thank you, Matt. Hello, everyone. My name is Ahmad Saburi, and I am the Enterprise Technical Account Manager here at Cupix. I, similar to Matt, has background in architecture and design, worked at several architecture and design firms in my past life, and then switched over to BIM and VDC. Been helping a lot of different clients, mainly in construction, to utilize BIM and VDC workflows as a consultant. And then lately, I've been doing my job here at Cupix for the past 2.5 years, helping my clients implement the Cupix technology successfully on their projects.
All right, thanks, Ahmad. All right, so I'm Kyle Ivey. I'm BIM manager for Rudolph and Sletten in the Northern California region. I primarily focus on the Sacramento region and the Bay Area, though I also have projects down south. I've got about 18 years under my belt in construction. The last 10 has been with Rudolph and Sletten. Been a BIM manager with Rudolph and Sletten for going on 2 years now. In my 10 years here with Rudolph and Sletten, I've got about 25 projects as a coordinator and manager. 15 of those projects were in Revizto. 5 of those have been completed through Revizto. I've currently got about 20 projects active in Cupix, and more to come.
Awesome. So we'll go ahead and launch a quick poll if you guys don't mind. You'll see it flash up on your screen, but we definitely want to know the audience. So if you guys can please tell us what your role is, and I'll share the results after about 10 or 15 seconds. Okay, great. So I'm just moving it over. Looks like we got a lot of VDC managers, which is awesome. And we got some project managers and directors and some field. Okay. So we definitely want to try to address the field as well. So thanks for joining. And let's go ahead and get into it. All right. So if you guys haven't heard of Revizto, most people have. But if you haven't, Revizto is an integrated collaboration platform that's really going to bring together a lot of the project data that everybody needs access to and centralize it so everyone can access that. The cool thing about Revizto is you're not limited. So everyone has access to that project, regardless of your role and regardless of what device you want to use. We work on obviously the desktop, laptop, but for the field, you can use your tablets or phones. So to be able to communicate issues is really what we're really good at and provide access to the data that you need to really address the issues as they come up during design. And that could be at the very beginning of design for design reviews and coordination, but we're also heavily used in construction, primarily in coordination. But that could also happen during pre-construction phases, during operations, and then obviously the field will be using it to check for quality control and communicate issues as they come up, both between the office and the field, which we'll cover today. And then even at the end of your project, after the project's been closed out, we can be also used for facilities management because obviously we're storing all that data in a common data environment, and we're going to have access to all the history on all the issues that come up throughout the project lifecycle. So this is the interface. I mean, Revista's really got strong, 5 really strong points that I want to kind of touch on. Number one, it's very simple to use. So some of the industry challenges right now is just the ability to make it user friendly. So anybody without that VDC background can leverage the technology quickly and obviously have something that's very reliable. Our interface is super simple and elegant, no matter which device you're using. And it's extremely powerful with all the tools that it offers, whether that's for coordination or design, or whether that's something you want to use like augmented reality in the field for, or you can see with the phone, you could see it has split screen capabilities. So it makes it super simple for any user to be able to access the information they need. As far as compatibility, Revizto offers a plethora of software compatibility through our plugins. So pretty much any authoring software that you're using will be able to export their data into Revizto, both 2D and 3D information. And as far as other file formats, I'm highlighting some of the ones that we're going to look at today, which is for reality capture. So that's going to be Faro scans, Autodesk recap scans. Then for photogrammetry models, we offer OBJ and FBX file formats that you can import. We also integrate with a variety of different common data environments, as you can see here. And we'll also show the Cupix and Revizto integration. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into some of those top use cases using Revizto. So this is kind of showing you the idea of the types of reality capture that is being used commonly today. And at the bottom here, you can see this is what we're going to really show with the photogrammetry and 360 photos. So you're going to notice that the precision as you go up will get higher. So this is going to be your terrestrial scanners. In the middle, you can see this is going to be the SLAM technology, which is basically localizing the mapping of the LiDAR instantly while you're walking. So that's more of a portable wearable scanner, whereas this is a traditional tripod scanner, which offers the best precision. As far as the use cases we'll talk about, we'll definitely show the Cupix integration with the field with Revizto, and then we'll kind of walk through some of those most common use cases, which is really documenting the accuracy of the existing conditions on site. With laser scanning and photogrammetry, it's really taken off in the last few years, and it's also come down in price. So a lot more people are starting to leverage this to verify existing conditions before anything gets modeled. So we'll kind of look at those. We'll also look at some clash automation using laser scans, and we'll also touch on pre-port checklist reviews. Okay, so the first use case is obviously going to be Cupix, and you're going to see this with Rudolph and Sletten how they use this, but you can see how simple it is. And all you're going to do is just turn on that button to turn on that integration with Revizto. Up here, you're going to see you have the ability to basically filter any issue that you see in Revizto into Cupix, and then you could basically batch panel all the locations of where the 360 photos were taken on site and allow them to go right into Revizto immediately. So we'll definitely demonstrate that capability, which is super helpful because that context from the field is really what the office might not know. Okay, so another use case is, like I mentioned before, is the ability to document and verify existing conditions accurately. So JTM Construction is a big user of Revizto, and also they have an excellent civil surveying team that they have that captures a lot of this reality using the terrestrial and SLAM technologies. And this is some of the use cases that you're going to often see with that is verifying existing conditions versus the plan. So what you're seeing is the design model compared to the actual existing conditions of a historical hotel. And you can see there are wide discrepancies that are that were caught early. And this is something that happens a lot during design where they might have old drawings that they're looking at, but obviously the existing conditions is much different. So being able to verify that and ensure the accuracy is critical during coordination. And then you're seeing some other examples that they used on other projects. You can see the laser scan and its accuracy and being able to bring that right into Revizto and compare that against your model. You can see that sometimes things will change in the field versus what was planned. I'm just kind of giving you an idea of the scale of scanning that can happen with these the SLAM technology. Here's another example. This is a storm drain manhole that was in the street that they needed to create a lid for. And just having the access to the actual grading within the 1/4 of an inch or 1/8 of an inch using these terrestrial scans. These are geo-referenced, so they're exactly where they need to be. You can verify exactly how to design and prefabricate that lid. So this is just showing you the byproduct of that coordination. You can see that lid was prefabricated off-site and installed to fit just like a glove. So that's really made possible through that technology. Another use case, so this is getting into the clash automation that we can do in Revizto. So you could bring in those laser scans and then actually run that against your planned model. Really good for renovations or existing buildings that need retrofitting. And what you're seeing here is the mechanical design model being ran against the existing building here. Okay, so this is the that existing hotel that JTM did. You can see this is an excellent use case of showing how you could renovate that and run a clash detection against the existing structure here. And with Revizto, you can automatically assign those clashes to the right trade very simply. So this is kind of showing you what that might look like in our clash automation and viewing the clashes. And then another use case is our ability to hyperlink those 2D drawings right to the 3D. So what you're seeing here is a combination of data within Revizto. It's showing the models color coded with the laser scan turned on and with our 2D drawing overlay feature, which I'll show in the demo. Okay, and then this is kind of getting into the SLAM technology. This is a Navis VLX that was used to scan this existing facility from Oracle. And you can see here, when I turn on that scan, you can see how easily it shows those discrepancies. So it's a very easy way to kind of verify installation. And there obviously may be cases where the routing of a storm drain might be different than what was planned for constructability purposes. But just being able to document that quickly with a click of a button is going to really help the field. DPR is also using Revizto to help with the in-wall rough-in installation. So you can see they use our 2D, 3D overlay with the laser scan to verify the installation of MEP rough-ins. And then they're also using drone technology to bring in a lot bigger areas of data. This is going to obviously be a 3D mesh from photogrammetry, which doesn't have that, exact precision of a laser scanner, but it's going to really help validate, those rough installations for the site. So you can see there's the underground plumbing going in, and they could verify exactly that that's going in per plan. Same with the electrical underground. And you can see that precision of detail is it's really nice with the way that technology with drones and cameras have increased. You can start to see that that's really helpful. Okay, and then finally, this is GTM using a terrestrial scan for a deck pour. So I'll go ahead and kind of play what that might look like. So here you can see the scan in Revizto. It's a pre-pour deck scan. I could turn on my models with an appearance template, and then with a click of a button, I could add a stamp and start to mark up discrepancies of those sleeves. So I'll kind of show you what that looks like in a live demo. So let's move on to the next slide. Okay, and lastly is our augmented reality. So this came out earlier this year. It's a really great way to visualize something in the field just using your phone. So I'll go ahead and kind of show you what that looks like. So this is through our phone app. So everybody pretty much has a phone. They can use this. And you can see all you have to do is take your phone out, turn on the AR and calibrate, usually by corner is the best way. And that's going to superimpose that model right on top of reality. Super useful to compare what was planned versus actually what's installed. And with our slider, you can see here, you can adjust the opacity of those models up or down. So it's easy to kind of turn those models on or off. All right, so let's go ahead and go into the live demo. Let me go ahead and switch screens here, and then we'll get to our poll next question. So this is a project that I'll go ahead and kind of show you how reality capture is brought in. You can see there is the laser scans right there. I have multiple, and what I like to show is just the ease of use. So you could set up these views for your field teams quite easily to turn those scans on or off. You can kind of see how quick it is to just switch to a viewpoint. I can navigate just using my keyboard, or on the phone, it's going to be just kind of holding down on the screen a long hold and then moving forward with the joystick feature, which makes it super simple. And the way to bring those scans in is going to be under Project Import. So that is where you're going to find the ability, and you can see there are the files that I'm talking about, the FBX, the OBJ, your recap files and point clouds right there. So a little bit about how you do that. And let's go ahead and do a real use case. So I'll kind of just show you what I would use for a pre-pour. I'm going to go ahead and jump to this level here on this tower. And you can see I'm in a unit, and I'm going to want to use an appearance template. So this can all be done on your phone or iPad as well. You can see I have a appearance template set up for the pre-pour. So this is obviously just a model with just the colors are all gray, but I can easily change all that through a click of a button. So you can kind of see what that looks like. So what I'm going to do is kind of walk around and show you what it might look like in the field, or maybe you're in the office. It can happen on either one, but it's easy to navigate in Revizto and visualize what that deck looks like that was scanned. And you can see I can easily find where there are discrepancies to kind of validate, why was that sleep, located the way it is. There could be a valid reason for that, and that's part of the challenge. Is sometimes the field does need to move things based on conditions that we didn't see during coordination. So what I'm going to do is use the stamps. And you can see here I have a series of stamps that are categorized by role, and for the field I might use the pre-pour stamp. So I'll go ahead and kind of place that stamp on that sleeve, and you can see immediately it brings up a lot of data here. So what I'm showing you is it knows where that stamp was placed on the grid, the room, and the level it's on. It assigned it a workflow, which you can customize in Revizto. You can see I'm using the pre-pour checklist workflow here. So what that allows me to do is have a lot more options on what the status of that issue might be. So maybe it's, the sleeve just needs to be adjusted in the field to match the model. And then I'll go ahead and kind of go to the issue tracker here, which kind of gives you a lot more detail on those issues. So that could be the markup. So let's say I want to attach a photo. Very easy to attach those photos and send that and communicate this back to the field. Or I can attach a 360 photo. Let's see here, it's the wrong one. So I'll just attach a 360 photo so you can kind of see what it would look like for Cupix, because this is what Ahmad's going to kind of show you. But that 360 photo could have came from Cupix automatically. It'll be pushed right to Revizto automatically. So being able to do that with the integration is going to be really useful. And then finally right here, so I'll go ahead and mark it up, kind of show you what it might look like. Whether you're a VDC manager or you could be a field engineer, superintendent. So maybe we just need to adjust that in the field so it matches better with the model. And then right here, you're going to see this is the dynamic connection that Revizto offers. So you can see I can update that view in 3D very easily. Or if I want to go to 2D, you can see it automatically knows where that issue lives and on the 2D drawing. And you can see I'm in a pre-pour checklist preset because I have way more issues than 11. You can see if I went to 176, or I have 176 currently, but what I really want to show is what do I have for pre-pour on this deck. So you can see now I got 11 issues, and you can see as I switch around, it's going to show me where those issues live on the plan. So super easy to use. And then finally, the dynamic connection of our 3D and 2D, you can see that gives me the ability to see visually that plan on top of the model. And then I'll just kind of detach that, pull the model up, and now you can see exactly where that issue is. So that's a bit about Revizto. I'll go ahead and turn it over to Ahmad, and he'll go ahead and show you how Revizto and Cupix integration works. Oh, and yeah, we have one more poll question we wanted to definitely address. It should show up on your screen, but what are some of your common pain points that you're experiencing in the industry? Can you guys see that, the survey results?
We do not.
Okay. So yeah, it looks like the most common pain point is team communication and alignment between the office and the field. So, all right, you can go ahead and share, Ahmad.
Great. Thank you, Matt. And yeah, welcome everyone, whoever joined late. I'm Ahmad Saburi. I do work at Cupix as Enterprise Technical Account Manager. And this part of the webinar will be focusing a little bit about the Cupix offering, mainly how our platform really help with different use cases for whether you are working in the field or in the office, some of the features that do help with communication and collaboration on your construction project. So basically, Revizto, as you've seen it with Matt, is now the new leader in BIM coordination. And Cupix has also emerged as the easiest yet powerful solution for as-built documentation. And we believe that together we form a powerful formula for project success. Now, how does that work is very easy, right? So the main functionality for Cupix when we talk about a 3D mapping, and similarly to what you have seen with Matt and Revizto, everything is actually kind of coordinated in 3D, whether it's an issue, a clash coordination item, a drawing, everything is living in one 3D ecosystem. And that's how the synergy with Cupix as well works. Because we also operate in a 3D, we do provide our users a 3D mapping option that is super easy to get. So as you can see on my screen, step one, you'll be utilizing out of the shelf 360 video camera, similar to the one that you're looking at here. And then you would mount it on a 360, you would mount it on a hard hat or a selfie stick. And then you would walk your job site, typically anywhere from 60 to 100 square feet of floor area could be captured in 20 minutes. And then the next step would, when you upload that data to our system, our AI engine processes this 360 videos and reconstructs that walking path that you did in 3D, and then mapping that out in a 3D map viewer from the 360 photo frames, and then transform it over into a footage that is fully immersive and realistic 3D dollhouse, similar to the one that you can see here on step 3, which is mainly utilizing our cloud-based web browser platform to navigate and then utilize it for different use cases that we'll be talking about in a sec. So we have designed our platform to be built around BIM and VDC workflows. So with that, what we mean is I'll actually get into an actual project here, just for the sake of showing you exactly what we are trying to mention. So not just navigation and one human eye elevation, you can, with Cupix, because we do operate in 3D, actually navigate in different areas, whether you have a double height ceiling, a congested MEP area. We do understand the Z aspect of every single panorama that's being captured with Cupix. So you can easily get closer to these systems, navigate through the upper height ceilings, and then maintain that alignment with BIM as you navigate. And that really helps when we're gonna start to talk about the Revizto integration, because we do understand every single issue if it's noticed in the 360 context and how you wanna map it with 3D. That also allows us to do things like transporting objects as well from 3D over to reality and then do that on-spot visual check. I'll go back to my presentation deck here. And the first feature that I want to talk about is our dollhouse. So I'll play this video here. And this really ties to everything I was talking about. Every single capture that you take with Cupix generates a 3D dollhouse, whether you take those captures on a daily, weekly, bi-weekly, monthly basis. These dollhouses are 3D assets that could be utilized for spatial understanding of the spatial configuration, utilizing them for a quick and easy rough measurement. So if I expanded this a little bit, you'll see that he went here to a bottom view very easily. You can see that perspective view as he navigates on 360. Compare that 360 viewer from the photo standpoint to a point cloud standpoint, but also utilize all those point cloud features to take quick and rough measurements just out of a 360 video camera. Those measurements are very good in accuracy. Of course, not as accurate as a terrestrial laser scanner, but they're very good in terms of how efficient you can grab them from a 360 video camera. Another use of this could always be site logistics, grabbing some clearance measurements, and also you can utilize our options to take measurements, not just through linear measurement, but also different ways of angular, radial, or even an area measurement very quickly and easily of your scanned area. So different ways that could help with making sure that you communicate information back and forth. Now, my next slide here is about our site view. So site view is our hub for all different information that would be shared within the Cupix ecosystem. I'm gonna play this video, but technically what really matters here is the capability of whether you are a field engineer or a superintendent or a VDC manager or coordinator or a project manager or an owner. We give you the power of customizing your interface so that you can easily share what is needed to be shared with different project stakeholders. So in this example, we're creating an experience or a user interface or a layout for the OAC weekly meetings. Maybe in front of your owners, you don't want to share everything on this project since beginning, and your interest for this meeting week is for sharing your 360 environment for the last month. You can assign that experience to your owner. You can publish that viewer. And then once you activate it and access it, the main viewer that shows up is what you have defined for those different filters, whether it's a specific level or range of dates. Another use case for this, maybe you have a weekly sync with your team on your project and you would like to have an easy way to access different data sets or different time of captures together at the same screen. So he's doing a triple compare here, showing two different capture dates with specific dates and a BIM viewer all at the same time. And once this is published and during that meeting, you can always navigate live through the web browser. You can maintain that BIM synchronization with 360, but you can also get 1 or 2 or 3 different capture dates, or in this example, it's even 6. And the power of this is being able to look at the same context for the same area within the same perspective across different dates. So we've got March 10 here, July 9, March 6 over here, but also having different traits together on their own viewers helps understanding that coordination between these traits and how they occupy the same space. Of course, these models could also be shown on the same viewer, but also as well can be shown like this. And this is really helpful if you're not a BIM savvy person and you spend a lot of your time navigating through 360, you don't have to have knowledge in BIM to understand how to look at things in the BIM viewer just by navigating in 360. So this is for side view here. One of the nice features that I really do like here at Cupix, and I feel like it's very simple yet very powerful to utilize, is CupixWorks OmniNode. And why we're mentioning it in this webinar is because of how this feature can really help bridge the gap between what's happening on site, what the field team can visualize and note while they're being on site capturing with Cupix, and how they can communicate that information visually to the office or the BIM or the VDC team. So OmniNode is basically allowing users to take photos or even record voice memos on your mobile phones or your iPads as you are on site, but then geotag these photos and paste them on top of the 360 imagery, and understanding the location of those photos automatically by our engine, and X, Y on the drawing, as well as Z in the 360 photo. So how does it work is very simple, and I'll show you this on this video. So the process is super easy. You're on site, you're walking the job site, and you notice some kind of coordination issue. It might be a clash with structural and piping, it might be something else. But anything that you notice, you'll grab your phone, you'll have the capture app from Cupix, you snap a photo. The photo will be a high-res image compared to the 360 panoramas that are taken from the 360 video walk. You can also speak as a voice note. And then those photos are pasted on top of the 360 environment in Cupix, knowing their location. You'll have a list of all photos. You can navigate to them by clicking on them. But also, we automatically read the text on these photos and transcript them over into a searchable description field. So if you're looking at all pressure gouge in the project that you've taken photos of, you can type in pressure gouge and you'll find it. You can always get your voice also transcribed on a voice memo on that location. And then at the end of the day, what you will see is all these photos on the plan drawing as you were seeing them back here. So let me go back to it. They are all pinpointed on their location on map, whether it's a satellite image from outdoors or even a construction drawing from your reference drawings indoors as well. So very powerful, very great way to communicate those issues between the field and the office. But the next step of this is what we're going to talk about, especially of how it ties to Revizto, is that now after you pinpointed these issues that are seen live in 360, now you can transfer this over to a Revizto issue or any other platform if you want to coordinate this with those collaboration tools, right? So you know where is this located. You can utilize this location to create a Revizto issue, and then now you have that documented as well. We'll show that in a sec of how it operates. So what I'll do here is let me get into the Revizto side of things. So Cupix and Revizto, you can see here on this snap here, Cupix on the left side, Revizto on the right side. And as Matt mentioned, the main powerful thing that we have developed is it's super easy to use. It's just one click away to activate the Revizto interface within Cupix. But we're making it also easy for people who are not familiar with the CupixWorks interface to utilize the Revizto interface for the issue tracker and for the comments tab within the Cupix platform. And even if it's the opposite, if you're not all the time in Revizto and you spend a lot more of your time in the 360 environment, you can always look through the history of that comments tab within the Cupix interface as well. So how does it work? It's simple. It definitely streamlines the issue coordination and decision-making by being able to create those issues in Revizto, having them populated in your 360 CupixWorks platform, synchronizing the locations automatically, whether it was at grid A1, grid B3, C4. We understand where this grid relates to the 360 context, and it automatically navigates you to that location. And also, the next step of all of this is feeding the Revizto issue tracker side of things with imagery from the 360 context, right? Whether it's a 2D snap or a panorama, those are only one click away momentarily, and we'll show that in a sec. And you can always as well batch attach those panels for more efficient workflows and send links, and I'll show you that in a sec here in my next video. So one of the main tools here is you can see some of these buttons within our Revizto integration side of things. Number one is uploading files. That's just a normal upload file for a spec sheet or anything that you would like to upload from your computer. Number two, which is more important, is being able to quickly and easily attach a snap from the 360 photo, just a snap with markups, and have it fed into the Revizto comments tab. Number three is attaching the entire panorama so that you can visualize it, similar to what Matt showed, to show that 360 and look around in Revizto as well. And also adding a link that any Revizto user, even if they're not familiar with Cupix, can click on that link and it will open up a new web browser, navigate them to the location of that issue within the 360 context. Here's just a quick visual on how the 360, and I think Matt showed that, so we're gonna skip it. Another one is batch attachment. I mentioned that in my talk in the previous slide. So basically with one click away, you can attach 360 panels into the Revizto issues list. And how does this work is on this video. I'll go over it very briefly. So the first thing that happened here is he clicked on this ID number 38, which happened to be a plumbing issue. You can see the Revizto icon on the 360 context on Cupix. It's living on that pipe, as you can see it here. And that's where it is as well in the 3D coordination Revizto model right over there. So it's very easy to look at it in both platforms. But the next workflow here is in case you are coordinating in Revizto, doing your daily kind of work, find an issue on that pipe right over there, creating that mechanical issue stamp, filling out all the different attributes for that stamp. As you save this and complete filling out all the different attributes, this newly created issue will show up momentarily in Cupix, as well as everything history-wide on the comments tab. So one click away, he clicked on that ID 40, which happened to be this guy that he created, and it navigated him right on top of that blue pipe on Cupix. So now you're not just looking at 3D context, but you're also adding that live 360 context to what's happening on site. The next step for this is opening up the comments tab. So to be able to visualize all the history that happened over here, but also feed this comments tab with data from Cupix, whether it's the 2D snapshot that happened that was grabbed from this current view, or a 360 panorama. And as you notice, it shows up momentarily. So if he clicks on this again here, it shows up momentarily as he does that 360 photo. It shows up in Revizto, and now you can go to Revizto, open up that 360 photo, and then look around as well in 360 easily and quickly. Another aspect of that communication and filling in that gap is with a link. So if you're not familiar with Cupix, and if you needed to look more about the context around what's happening around that issue with other panoramas around it, we can just with one click away give you a deep link into that location of that issue, and then paste it over in the feed here, and it will show up, and then any Revizto user can click on it. If they have access, it will open up the web browser, navigate into that location. So this is when it comes to feeding data from Cupix, from the reality context into the 3D coordination platform. Now, what we can also utilize out of this is basically the filtering and sorting that Revizto has. All those filtering and tags criteria that you would utilize in Revizto would also be utilized in Cupix. We understand that a mid-sized project can have hundreds, if not thousands, of issues created throughout the life cycle of the project, and it's really important to be able to filter down to these issues for easily management, and that's also available. So that's the core of that integration of how it operates. One last thing that I want to talk about here is what's next, and this is really very recent. We are just releasing this new feature, and the audience here is, you guys are one of the first to see this newly updated feature. This feature has been developed based out of our clients' feedback from who are using Revizto and are using Cupix. One of the main pain points was, although they utilize Revizto for all the different coordination and for the 3D models and point clouds, sometimes because of the more frequent aspect of the 360 captures from Cupix and how they happen on a weekly or daily basis, they would figure a lot of these issues from the 360 context as they're walking their job site or even navigating in 360. And when they see those issues, they would need to go back to Revizto, try to find and locate their position based out of their location on the 360 photo, and then create that issue within the Revizto platform. One great suggestion was to be able to actually create those issues directly from within the Cupix interface and then feed them into the Revizto platform to help streamline that process. And we took that for heart. We did develop this. Now it's available. Basically, you see that plus icon. So if I go back a little bit here, so there's that plus icon on our Revizto interface. And once you click on it, it will load a window tab with all the different stamps library from your template on Revizto. So if it's a mechanical stamp that you want to tag it, you can have that. You can name that issue. And then it creates that issue automatically. It gives it an ID number. It creates that logo for Revizto issue on the 360 photo. But also, this populates momentarily in the Revizto application as well. And you can see that it's actually created that mech stamp on the same spot within the Revizto ecosystem. And now you can create as many as you want of these different issues as you see them within 360, feed the Revizto platform with these issues, and add visual context, whether it's markups on 2D imagery, whether it's panoramas, whether it's links, all of that is one button away. And this helps really bridging that gap between what's happening on site and what's happening with the office and the BIM and the VDC team. So with this, I think the last thing here is also, as I mentioned, you can feed it not just with markup, but with actual dimensions. Utilize our powerful tools to take dimensions out of 360 imagery, and then feed that information over to the Revizto side of things to compare design versus as built. So this is my last slide here. Hopefully I didn't go very quick, trying to maintain the time. So I'll give it back to Kyle now.
All right, thanks, Ahmad. I want to show everybody is how Cupix is using this integration here. So I'm in the Cupix environment now, and you can see on the left in my site view options, one of my options that I have is the Revizto add-in. This has already been linked and set up for my project. And what we're looking at is a 40,000 square foot shell space. You can see the floor plan here, and you can see these filters that I have selected are very similar to the filters that you would see in Revizto. So it's using the parameters that build our presets. So at the top there, you can see I've got the funnel selected. That's our filter. And then within there, I've applied 3 options for the status, which is not showing any closed, solved, or open. And then for tag, I've selected one of my pre-made tags from Revizto. And so with that, you can see that it's isolated 4 specific issues to my list here. And what I want to give a quick demonstration on that hopefully won't take too long is doing the batch panos. So on the top there, next to that filter button, you can see there's a batch attached photo or panos. I'm going to click on that, and you can see that it pops up and it tells me that it's going to attach the closest 360 pano for all 4 issues. So it's going to look for the closest blue dot or purple dot that's within range of the coordinates of that issue. And then it's going to drop those panos into the Revizto issue. I also have the option of including the site view link. I'll go ahead and do that. It only takes a moment, and I'll attach these panos. So on screen, you guys will see how fast this goes. It's got 4 to run. It should go pretty quick. You can see it's given us our status there. We're currently on 1 of 4. And then once this is complete, it's live. So it'll just a few moments here. We'll have all of those panos and links embedded within the Revizto issues. All right, that's finished now. Now on the top there where I clicked batch attached panos, you can see there's also the comments and information tab for these issues. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit the comments. If I select one of my issues, my comments all pop up, and you can see there's that pano that I just attached here at 11:46, and there's my link that's attached as well. This is Pacific time. So you can see how that all went, and based off of the issue I have selected, there's the coordinates of the issue that I have selected. If I go to another one, it should take us directly over to it, and you can see where that issue is located as well. All right. Next, I want to show what the dollhouse looks like in Cupix and how to measure. So really quickly, I'm just closing out the Revizto tab, and I'm just looking at my floor plan here. it's kind of crucial that you have a good capture that has a lot of panos if you're looking to use the dollhouse feature. So on the bottom of the floor plan here, I've got this option for view dollhouse. It looks like a little 3D cube. I'm going to click that, and you'll see that I'll get some color here on my floor plan, and it's essentially overlaying a rough 3D scan using all that photogrammetry stitched together to give me a 3D object. And I can grab the plan and I can rotate it and show some different angles where you can see that it's got some depth to it now. And then on the bottom here next to the 2D button, which was previously that dollhouse button, I've got perspective view. I can change that to orthographic, and I can also go into the camera presets here and, for instance, look directly at the bottom. So that'll allow me to look up from the floor at the deck and say I have, all of these purple icons in my annotations that I'll be demonstrating here shortly. Let's say I have some pipes or some objects that I wanted to measure. This is a good way to quickly see where you're at in the capture mode in the floor plan against the 3D photogrammetry. So really quickly, I'm just going to show a quick measurement. Let's go over here. I've got a pipe right there. I think I've got one a little bit closer, maybe. Yeah, we'll use this one. So you can see the distance to that pipe is a little bit, it's probably about 20 feet from the person capturing to the pipe. I'm going to take a measurement from the wall to the pipe and see what we get. I'm going to guess that's roughly a 8-foot measurement. And so I'm just going to use the floor. Depending on how far away you're picking the points, it might ask for some different directional measurements, but it seemed to like my measurement there. And then I'm going to click on the pipe. And you can see there it is, roughly 7.5 feet to the pipe, to the wall there. And really quick to grab that measurement. Didn't take me much time at all. And that's just using the basic distance feature. As Ahmad pointed out, there's a lot of potential to using the measurement tools, and you can measure either in the site view in the capture, or you can measure back in the dollhouse itself. All right, so with that, I want to go ahead and jump into how I created my issues for my workflow to be able to bring this information from Cupix over to Revizto. At the time that I created all of this, there was less functionality in Cupix than there is today. OmniNotes wasn't out yet. And now this new feature that allows you to create Revizto issues directly in Cupix, that wasn't out yet. That just came out, I think, yesterday. So I had to make a workaround to make this work, and I'll walk through what that looks like with everybody here real quick. So I've selected the annotations tool instead now. Just next to where I did measuring in Revizto, I've got an annotations button. Selecting that, you can see I've got a couple of different annotation groups happening on different capture dates. So this orange circle is indicating a capture. So I had a capture date on the 31st of October and another one on the 3rd of November. And if I open up the 31st of October here, you can see that there's quite a few notes. All of these are the notes that are scattered around on this floor plan or dollhouse view that you see here. So my process essentially is, let's get a floor plan that I've got in Cupix that matches what's in Revizto. And first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to locate an issue in the capture. So in reality, when I was doing this, I was walking the job site and I had found some conflicts. And so, just using my imagination, we're going to drop an issue and call out something that may be wrong. I can see that there's some Z-track attached here that's going to need to be removed before we get started with installation. So I'm going to call that out. When I clicked, it brought me a little bit further, and it dropped the annotation in a generic place in my near vicinity. So if I didn't like the position of that, for instance, I would really like the annotation to be there at the location of the issue, I can quickly select this target button, reposition annotation, and then it allows me to use the XYZ to drop that annotation to a better place. So after it recognizes its coordinates, it'll drop it there. I can change the title, I can add some notes. This is a very generic annotation group that we have set up for this project, but this is completely customizable. You can add a ton of different parameters, including assignees, et cetera. And this is just within Cupix. We're not talking Revizto yet. All right, so in theory, I would go to save this. We'll go ahead and just call this test. Save it. And you'll see this will pop in our list of issues for the November 3rd capture, because that's the one I'm on right now. So you can see there's test 1. That's the issue I just created. All right, now I see on my floor plan that I've created that on the south wall of 5N07. So I'm going to now go over to Revizto and I'm going to find that same location. So I'm in Revizto. You can see I've got a laser scan turned on here in this view, and I could go and hunt and peck and find my way to that same location based off of what I see in the scan versus what was in the photogrammetry. But to make this a little easier, we're going to use our floor plan. All right, I think I said 5N07. Okay, so that's the south wall of this right here. You can see that's roughly where I was located in 3D anyways. That's the purple icon of where I'm at and what direction I'm facing. Up on the top here, you can see there's a jump to 3D button. Select that, and I'm gonna put it right next to where I was planning on dropping that annotation. Right there. It takes me to that same spot. I'm gonna turn around and look at that Z clip, I think right up here. There it is. And now I'm going to drop my stamp here that resembles the same information that I did in Cupix. So I've got a predetermined stamp here, just like what Matt was showing earlier. This stamp is specifically for my Cupix issues, field issues that the team may be wanting to bring to our attention. You can see that it automatically has an assignee and some other parameters already filled out. You can see that it's got grids and levels associated to it. It should be picking up my room too. Maybe I clicked between rooms, so it's not able to grab the room here. But there you go. That issue is now created. If I go over to my issue tracker, we'll see the same filters that we were looking at in Revizto a moment ago. So there's the filters. These are presets. If we go into the custom filter, you'll see how these are built. This is the exact same way that it's built there in the Cupix integration. And so what I've done is I've selected by tag and by status. I only want to look at Cupix issues. And so you can see that there's the 15 there. Now, if I go back over to Cupix, sorry, and I go into the Revizto tab, and I filter down by Cupix tag, we can see I've still got my statuses turned on, but we can see there's the one I just created, 5853 site photos issue. Okay, and then if I click on that, there you go. You can see there's the XYZ of that location. There's the snap that came through from when I created the issue in Revizto. And then if I want to quickly attach the site view to this at the bottom of the comment or the chat window within the integration of Cupix and Revizto, I can select the attach pano. And that'll load into the chat immediately. We can see that there. And I can say attach a link to site view. So if I was doing it on a 1-by-1 basis, this is how you would do it. If you wanted to do the batch attach, you could still do that, of course. Now that it's in Revizto, I'm going to go back over to Revizto. You can see this here. I'm going to open up the chat window and we'll see there's our site view that I just attached and the pano. Selecting the pano up on the top, making sure that I'm on the 360 viewer mode, and I can see there's that clip there. All right, so that's the demonstration of how I was going through painstakingly duplicating these issues. Now with the updated button within Cupix, you can cut half of that workflow out, which is wonderful. I'm looking forward to that in the future. So yeah, that's creating them from scratch. Really quickly, I want to just show a couple of quick examples of what we used this for. So here's an example of where we had a conduit that was zip tied to another conduit for support. This is an OSHPOD job in a hospital, so this is not going to fly. Inspector would have flagged this. Made sure to get it in front of our electrical contractor, and they took ownership of the issue. They will be demolishing this line anyways, as it's part of the existing fire alarm system that's going to be renovated. So good to catch it, but fortunately, it's not going to be an issue. Then you can see kind of the history here where my contractor came in. He made some notes, and then I came in and I added some snapshots showing the existing content being modeled to pick up all of those conduits there. And then lastly, one other one to quickly show you. This is an example of in the field. I noticed we have a no attachment zone at most of our column intersections. And the no attachment zone in the in the field is indicated by the yellow striped hatching that you can kind of see there. So those stripes are telling us stay away from there, don't attach anything in that zone. And you can see there's some top track attached in that zone. So that needed to be remedied prior to our team getting involved in construction. So our structural engineer wanted to know what type of screws or rivets were what fasteners were being used to hold the track in place. So got a few more high resolution photos and added those to the issue for my structural engineer to review. We agreed that it was a non-issue and that all of these could just be removed and patch back the monocode as necessary. All right, so that is my presentation. With that, we're going to slip into Q&A.
Great. Thank you so much, Kyle, Ahmad, and Matthew. So I'm just going to launch the last poll of this session, and we can move into the Q&A. We have one question. What is the workflow we should use to prevent doubling up, or will that be covered later? Kyle, do you want to answer that?
Yeah, sure. So with the updated functionality coming in the Revizto integration for Cupix, we now can create these issues directly within Cupix as a Revizto item using our stamp templates, etc. So we won't have to create an issue in both environments. Instead, you're just creating it the one time.
Yeah, that's going to be super helpful because like Ryan was showing, I think Amada as well. I mean, when you guys create an issue in Cupix or in Revizto, it does recognize the XYZ. So those are geolocated or they can be geolocated. So that way, when you guys are communicating, regardless of platform, it's going to know exactly where it lives. It's going to pin it in the right spot. So bidirectional capability is coming, it sounds like, and Cupix is about to release that. So that'll be super huge. We had one more question I just wanted to touch on. Oh, there's another one. Do these Pano 3D images take up a lot of space in Revizto? Will it slow down the model? Maybe Ahmad, if you can answer that one. I don't know. I mean, I don't think so.
I don't think so. They're not a larger size files. Typically, they're just a 360 panel, one single panel that is attached to that Commons tab, and it typically lives with the other data sets that are living in the Commons tab. So it should behave similarly to whatever you attach in the Commons tab in Revizto.
Yeah, I'm looking at the size of a Pano. It's a little bit bigger than a regular static JPEG, but it's not very much bigger. I mean, so it shouldn't affect performance.
Probably a little dependent on what camera is being used, but again, it's going to be minor discrepancies between them.
Okay, and there was one question that I wanted to kind of clarify. There was a question about pulling in the models from Revizto. That is a very common question that we get from a lot of software providers that want to integrate. So yeah, that is coming through our 3D API, because right now anybody that wants to develop on top of their software can integrate with Revizto through our open API, which right now we have publicly released our issue tracker API. That is something you can easily get to through our console. However, the 3D API is not available yet, but it is coming. So that's part one. Part two of that question was really on the vendor side. So if Cupix wants to do that, that's something they could do. However, we are built on the Unity gaming engine, which is different than the Autodesk Forge platform. So that's what you're commonly going to see from a lot of the software providers through Forge. And I don't know if Chuck or anybody else from Cupix wants to help answer that one, but hopefully that helps answer your question.
Yeah, I could just say we know that it's a high demand functionality and we will definitely be working on it, but today I can't give you any time frame.
I think we're a little bit over time, but if anyone is interested in a personalized demo, you can go to the Cupix and Revizto website to request a demo and learn more. So I will just drop the links in the chat. And I think that wraps up everything for today. So thank you everyone again for joining us. We'll be sending out this recording to everyone that has registered. And thanks again for your time and have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks all.